I think I'm live. Hi, it's almost noon. It's Alicia. So if you see me looking over to the side, it's because I have another computer that helps me see what you see, because sometimes I can't see it. So it's 12 noon. Welcome. I see two people on. Hi, Sue. Hi, Michelle. Can you just, on the right side, there's an area for comments. Could you just let me know that you can hear me? Just go ahead and, say hello. And let me know that, yes, you can hear me. And so now we have a couple more people coming on. Daniel, hello, how are you? Would you please just take a moment and write in the right column that, yes, you can hear me? Michelle, yes, can hear me. That's wonderful. And I just want to make sure that everyone can hear me. Daniel, hello. Good, you can hear me. And who else? Sue, can you hear me? Just type in the right column, which is where the comments are. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and hope that people start showing up. There's about 20 people registered, which is really cool. This is something that I just wanted to do. I wasn't sure what the outcome was. It's casual. I'm going to pretend that you're sitting at the table with me here in my office and we're having lunch together. And it's just going to be a kind of casual hour. The first thing that I'd like to do is just invite you to please take a look at the polls, which you should see on your site right underneath this video. There's polls and there's questions and topics. If you could answer the polls, that would be amazing because that gives me some feedback. And also, if you could vote on the questions or topics that most attract you or interest you, that way I know in the interest of time which ones to address first. Are we good with that? And then the comments area is where you and I can communicate. At some point, I actually have the option of inviting one of you into the video as well. I've not done that before, but I would be happy to try it this time if someone wants to be a brave soul and we're addressing that person's question. Okay, so I'm going to watch and see if great people are voting on the polls. That's wonderful. That's helpful. And then let me just take a look at, so we still have 4 people on. What I have found in doing these, I've been doing a couple of different crowdcast kinds of things. I have found that people typically sign on 10 minutes late. So it's unfortunate because for those of you who are early, I want to make sure I get started. And that's what I intend to do. So to get started, let's see which questions receive the most votes. And so in this particular technology, people can vote on which question is of interest to them. And that helps me just address things. So I'm going to give you a minute to vote on which questions you prefer that I start answering or that I start having a conversation with you about. There's also a little, I don't know if you can see it, let's see. When I answer a question, I have the ability to click a little button that says start answering. And what that does is later, if you want to look at the recording and you want to go back to a question that I answered, you have the ability to go back to exactly that point because I've made a little click and on the question at the moment that I start answering the question. So I see a couple of more people signed in. Hello, Claudia. And Monique, hi. Make sure that you just type in the comments area that, yes, you can hear me. And also, please take a minute and go to the poll. There's a poll area and a questions and topics area. In the poll area, if you would just answer the poll, Thanks, Claudia. Great, you can hear me. You can answer the poll, and please vote on the questions or topics that you want to talk about today. The question or topic with the greatest interest is the one that I will address first. So I'm going to give you another minute, it's 12:05, maybe one more minute to take a look at the polls and the question and topics. And by the way, this is being recorded, so you'll be able to review it later at the same link where you signed on. So I'm looking at questions, and right now I have 2 votes for the first question, defining that fine line between being assertive and firm on what you want and willing to compromise for progress forward. That's Monique's question, and she's here. So in the interest of time, I'm going to go ahead and start that. So if you see me looking to the side, I have another computer and I can see what you see. Okay, let's get started for those of you who are here. And keep voting on another question. Make sure you do the poll. And in the comments area, if I say anything, go ahead and comment. Or if one of the other people says something, go ahead and comment. This is a way of being able to collaborate a little more in this kind of technology. So again, defining that fine line between being assertive and firm on what you want and willing to compromise for progress forward. Monique, you also asked the other one, advice for bolstering a women's negotiation skills for defining rules of engagement and compensation. So I have a feeling that those 2 may be linked in some way. So here's the thing. If you're introverted, assertive looks a little bit like aggressive. So let's get a frame of reference for assertive. Assertive is basically making a statement for what you need or want, or maybe you're advocating for an idea. It does not have to be aggressive, and it does not have to be loud. It does have to be clear, and ideally it should be concise. So before you ever go into a conversation about getting something that you want or advocating for an idea, I often tell my clients to go ahead and script it out and then cut it in half. Because when we script it out, we write a lot, and it's too confusing. So find between assertive and firm on what you want and compromise. One of the things you do in advance is understand what is most important about that thing that you want or that you're advocating for. So you don't compromise in the moment. You actually understand up to what point you want to compromise. Where are you on that line? But you determine that not in the conversation, you determine that in advance of the conversation. So if I have an idea and I want to make progress on my idea or on my project or whatever it is, then in advance, I would be scripting it out. I would be saying, okay, this is what I care about. So one of the very first things is, why is that important to you? You need to fully understand that. You also want to understand what is the impact of that, not only on you, but on the other person when you're in negotiation, if you will, when you're having that conversation. And so I'm going to your second question a bit about rules of engagement and compensation, because this applies to that as well. At what point are you willing to compromise? And at what point are you not willing to compromise? That allows you to stay firm. There's also something else. If you're unsure in the moment as you're going through this, there's also the ability to say, I need to give this some more thought. Don't feel pressured to agree to something that you're not comfortable with. You can always say, okay, there's something here that I need to think a little bit more about, and I'm gonna create a pause. I'm gonna say, I need to think about this a little longer. And then this is really important. You need to say, I will get back to you on, or by Tuesday at 5 or whenever that is. This idea of negotiation skills, by the way, Monique, especially, or anybody else, has a lot to do with being, and in particular for women, we tend to take less. Like if we're negotiating for your salary or compensation or a package or whatever, we tend to compromise a lot more than we should. And so when I talk about compromise, when I'm talking to someone about a salary negotiation or something like that, I'm not just saying, what are you willing to compromise? What's the least that you're willing to take? It's really, what is the least that you're willing to take that will still make you happy, that will still make you feel enthusiastic about the job, that will still make you feel productive. So it's not compromise like, I'm going to compromise and I'm losing. No. That doesn't work. It's compromise and, okay, I didn't get everything I wanted, but I got enough to satisfy me, to make me feel productive, happy, comfortable, whatever that is. So that line should move up a little higher. It shouldn't be a line that's making me feel resentful. Because if you feel resentful, you've compromised way too much. You've given away too much. And so you know what that is if you do the upfront work before the conversation to determine what it is that you value, why it is that you value it, what's the impact of that, and at what point are you willing to say no, but not in a way that causes resentment, but in a way that says that's the least amount of, let's say, salary, if you will, that I'm willing to take and still feel worthy, valued, productive, or whatever it is. So going to you, Michelle, because you're the one who asked these two questions. Am I answering your question? Does that answer your question? And is there something else about that you wanna talk about? So I'm gonna give you a moment to go ahead and write in the comment area. Does that work for you? And again, this is a little variation on coaching, because typically coaching, I'm working with you and I'm asking you more questions. You're asking me for a more consultative approach, and that's what I'm giving you. Just so you know, my own coaching style is not 100% questions. I get hired by people because I know something, because I have experience, because other people have shared their experience with me. Right, Monique asked the question. Michelle, did I say Michelle? I meant Monique. So Monique, I'm asking you if, I'm hoping you're present. Let me just see if indeed you are, because, yeah, you're here. Monique, can you just let me know in the comments in the comments area if I answered your question? That way I know, and then I can continue on some other questions. Ready? I'm going to assume that unless Monique tells me something different, that I answered the question. Monique Castillo, okay? Let me see, what are you seeing? Okay. Got it. Can you vote on, so I addressed both the first question and the second question, defining the fine line and advice for bolstering. There are more questions here. Can you all who are present vote on those questions so I know which is the second question you'd like me to address? So I'm going to give you a moment. And let me know also if you haven't already that you can hear me. And also for those of you who just joined us, to please take a moment and complete the poll and vote on a question or topic that you would like me to work on. Otherwise, I'm just going to choose a question. So, Sydney Marino, are you here? Sydney is not. Oh, yes, you are. Sydney, are you on? Yay! Okay, and Joel, okay, I see you too. So, Joel, let me know that you can hear me. And again, vote on a question and a topic. Thank you, Joel. Vote on a question or topic and please answer the poll. So the reason I said, okay, so 3, I just finished answering Monique's question. And those of you who missed that, you can hear it in the replay. Okay, I'm getting some votes for, I answered the first 2 questions already. Again, those who missed that, you can get it on the replay. which you have access to by going to the same link, by the way. Okay, more voting, good. Strategies to advance your career is winning out. It's got 2 votes, 1 vote for being overwhelmed. How not to, so I have suggestions for these as well. Any other votes before I take the next question, which would be strategies to advance your career to achieve the roles? That's Michelle. Any more votes? This is kind of fun. I haven't done this before. So, all right. All right, right now, strategies to advance. Yes, it answered my question. Thanks, Winnie. Good. And again, for those of you who missed the answer to the first 2 questions, you can hear it on the replay. Okay, voting on questions. We already have the first 2 questions done. That was fast. That was only 15 minutes. Okay. I'm going to go to how to not feel. Oh, wait. That's Claudia's question. Where is Sydney's question? Sydney, the building personal confidence with humility, there's a piece of that in what I answered already. But I may go to your question after this one. So how not to feel overwhelmed when you have a lot going on, namely kids, packing lunches, work, side hustles, family, and realizing it's okay to take a day off for a retreat or vacation. Is that the question that you want me to answer next? Can you please put it into the comments area or vote on another question before I go there? I'm taking my cues from you. Anybody? Okay. All right. I'm going to start answering that question then. To Claudia's question. Claudia's question is which one? Did you vote, Sydney? You can vote on it. So okay, great. Yes. Okay, great. So how not to feel overwhelmed. Where can you vote? You go to the question. You just go to the question. So I'm moving to another one. So if I want to vote, I hit that up arrow next to the left of the question. You see where it says, so how not to feel overwhelmed? There is 2 votes and there's an up arrow. If you hit that up arrow, all the questions, I'm unable to, all the questions I don't have. I'm not sure what you mean, Claudia. So if you look at the questions, you should be able to see all the questions where it says questions and topics. Are you there, Claudia? All the questions don't have up arrows. They do on mine. They do on mine. So put your cursor, huh? Oh, never mind. Okay, you're in the wrong place. Okay, great. So right now I've got Michelle's question has got 2 votes. That I haven't answered that one. Oh wait, there's 3 votes. Oh no, the 3 votes I already answered defining the fine line, and that's in the recording. So we have 2 votes for how not to feel overwhelmed. That's Claudia's question, and strategies to advance your career. Who wants to break that tie? Which one should I go for? Okay, you guys figured it out. Okay, so strategies wins because there's 3 now. Okay, let's go there, and then you can keep voting the other ones. Strategies to advance your career to achieve, ooh, something just moved, to achieve the role you want. Okay, there's a lot of ways I could answer that. And if you have any specificities, let me know in the comments area, Michelle. So here it is. So first of all, mentoring, that's a strategy. You need, I can't tell you how often I tell my clients, you have to find a mentor. Let me make a distinction between mentor and coach for you. A coach is someone like me from the outside, completely objective. I don't have an agenda for you. I'm trying to get you to achieve a certain goal or to reach your potential in some way. but you're driving that, okay? Now, a mentor is slightly different. A mentor is typically someone who is more experienced than you and is already in a position that in your industry or in your company, it could be in your industry, it could be in your company, or someone that role models or models for you the kind of position or career or I guess it would be position or career that you would want to have. So if you have someone that you look up to, then that could be a mentor. And there's a very specific way to make a mentoring relationship work, and there's another way that really makes them fail. So I'm just going to briefly tell you what those are. For a mentoring position, mentoring agreement to succeed, it takes both of you making very firm agreements on what the conditions of that is. So if I go to someone, I say, I have a request, would you be my mentor? Here's what that looks like. And what it looks like is that we would meet in person twice a month, or we would meet once a month by phone, or whatever that is. Okay, but you need to be specific, and you have to set it up for them. So this is what mentoring means to me. And I would like to be mentored on. So how to be a better leader, how to be more visible in the industry. So be very specific about your request, what you want mentoring on, and then duration. Could you mentor me for 3 months? And then we could discuss where that goes. Okay, those are the elements that are important to that. So again, it's making an agreement about duration, how long, 3 months, let's say 6 months, whatever it is, how often, and the mode. So are you meeting in person? Are you meeting once a month? Are you meeting by phone, by Skype? How often? The third thing is, what are you being mentored on? Mentored on industry things, mentored on your leadership, mentoring, whatever it is, be specific. And the other thing is, you need to make sure that the mentor is getting something back. So you need to make a direct question or inquiry. What do you need for you to feel good about mentoring me? So a mentor might say, I just need you to show up on time and stay in touch with me. Or if I ask you to do something, I need you to report back to me that you did it. Whatever it is, the mentor has to feel like what they're doing is valued by you. So you want to make sure that you're giving that person some feedback, and you've asked them, look, I'm looking for you to tell me how this is valuable for me. Now that's a strategy. Mentoring is an important strategy for getting ahead or getting the roles you want. Having really sort of courageously stepping into stretch assignments is another strategy for advancing in your career. In other words, people want to see you as someone who takes action and who has initiative. So oftentimes there are projects that maybe someone else isn't really interested in taking. But if it gives you the visibility to the people that will influence your ability to get ahead in your career, then that's a project you should be taking. And it's not just saying, yes, I'll do it all. It's, I'd like to take this project, and here's what I need to be able to succeed in this project, because you want to take the project that you will succeed at so that your visibility is one of success. So you want to make sure that those conditions for success are present, or that you can get them from, you know, the powers that be. That's a strategy. Third thing, I'm really big with my clients around personal brand. So what does that mean? Just like every other product has a brand, things that they are known for. So Nike is known for, you know, just do it. You know, they have even a tagline known for athletic things. Tom's Shoes is known for social entrepreneurship. Whole Foods is known for having fresh organic food at very high prices. Nevertheless, they are known for that in conscious business. Okay, what is your personal brand? The minute you decide that you want a career, you should be thinking about, what do you want to be known for? And maybe it's known for now, because as you advance in your career, you might want to change what you're being known for, but it has to have some coherence. In other words, everything you do in your career has to have a point of reference. something that says to the world at large, Michelle has had this experience and she's interested in moving in this direction. And the reason that we think she will is because she's our go-to person for blank. So my question to you would be, what is that? What do you want to be known for? You're the go-to person for what? At your company, in your industry? That's the other thing. Especially for women, you need to get out. You need to get into groups that are outside of your business. And I'm sorry you have to make time for that. So don't say that you don't have time. You have to make time for that, because the only way you're going to achieve a role or a position or advance in your career is to actively take responsibility for your career. Okay, so things that you need to do are go out and network with, I would say, if it's a woman, I always say women's networking is it has been, for me anyway, a lot more productive than just networking in general. Know where to network, why you're networking there. You could network every night of the week. You don't want to do that. You want to choose the events and the audiences, the participants, the members of whatever association it is that will bolster your career, that you know you can contribute to. So contribution in those networking events or those associations is important. Learn from, meet people that will help you, and be generous. So give back. So if you meet someone at an event and you know of an article that could help them with a situation they've just told you about, send them the article. Take that time to send the article, or take that time to, after the event, send them an email and link in with them. This is the other thing I was going to talk about. So achieving your career. People underestimate LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a really great tool. It's a great tool for me to get business. It's a great tool for me as a writer, because I write there. That is all part of personal brand. Okay? Even though you're not an entrepreneur, you may be someone who works in a company, personal brand is still important. LinkedIn is a way of using it. So one of the things I wrote on LinkedIn that I'm going to suggest you go read if you haven't already is my post on why women do not complete their LinkedIn profile. It's part of your personal brand. There's a gentleman called William Aruda who does personal branding. He has an assessment, actually, that does personal branding. But he wrote a really great article on LinkedIn. You can look for it, on writing your LinkedIn summary, writing a good LinkedIn summary. So I really recommend that you read his article and read my article on why women do not post their LinkedIn profile. So just because I'm really curious, how many of you on right now, please tell me in the comments area, how many of you have what you consider a really good LinkedIn profile? And for those of you who do not have a LinkedIn profile, are you willing to own up to not having a LinkedIn profile? Go ahead and put it in the comments. I'm really curious about if you have your LinkedIn profiles and if they're working for you. I'm waiting. Go ahead. Sydney, do you have a LinkedIn profile? Michelle, do you have a LinkedIn profile? But I do not feel good about it. It's time to get it up and running. Claudia, yes. Sue, you need to complete that LinkedIn profile. Right. Michelle, you need the LinkedIn profile. Claudia, you feel pretty good? Yes. So Claudia, that is a really good comment. Daniel, I've seen your LinkedIn profile. You have a really solid profile. So go find Daniel Shears on LinkedIn. He has a great profile. Go look at mine. Joel, awesome. You update and post pretty regularly. Okay, ladies, are you listening? Okay, so Claudia's comment catches my attention. I need to post more as a thought leader. Yes, the men are beating you. That's right. That's why I posted the article, Women Do Not Do LinkedIn Profiles. Claudia, when you say I need to post more as a thought leader, this is exactly what I'm talking about when I'm talking about brand. So if this is something, you want to be known as a thought leader, you should be posting as a thought leader. Okay, what does that mean for your industry? for your organization. Absolutely do that. How often do you post? First of all, Claudia, it's your profile. Make sure your profile and update it. So if you get a new assignment that's worthy of posting, that you think is something that supports your personal brand, post on that. If you like to write, I think, LinkedIn has like kind of, the posts are like a blog. So if you want to be known as a thought leader, post your ideas on it. And by the way, not everybody is going to agree with you, and that's a good thing. You need to take a stand for certain things. So just post your ideas and consider yourself posting as a thought leader. I agree with Claudia, but not sure how to get started. Hold that thought. Quality over quantity. Absolutely, Claudia. Quality over quantity. It doesn't mean you just post it. So again, why are you posting? How does it support your brand? And how is it useful to the reader? Very important. You shouldn't be just posting the post. You should be posting things that are useful to the people who are reading your posts. It should give them some kind of information, make them think about something in a different way, that kind of thing. Posting regularly. Let's see, what else are you saying? I agree with Claudia. So Michelle, not sure how to get started. Could you just explain what you mean by that? Do you mean how to get started with writing or how to get started with your profile? So Michelle, can you answer that so I know which way to go with it? So these are all strategies, and they're not the only ones, but they're the ones I think about off the top of my head. Is LinkedIn a tool to use in lieu of a business website or blog? That is an excellent question, Claudia. Some people are using it in lieu of a website. The difference is that websites are searchable. They have SEO, search engine optimization. So if you need to be found by more than just the LinkedIn community, then you need a website. I actually think everybody needs a website, even if it's a one-pager. So let me give you an example. Squarespace is a really easy to use blog slash website platform. If you go to, let me see if I can write in here, www, oh, I can't miss. If you go to that site, which is my bio page, it's a one-page, Squarespace allows you to have a one-page profile that is searchable, okay? So websites, SEO can find you. You can do like a kind of bio page like that if you don't want to invest in a big site. Squarespace is a really economic way of putting up a website with a blog. One of the things I do is when I post in my blog, I put it on, I just repurpose it for LinkedIn. So it's not an either or. And I also post on social media. It goes to social media. So that goes to the brand and visibility. So social media, which is, I find sometimes overwhelming, to be honest with you. But social media is important in creating your brand, okay? Can you send us the link to your post about women in LinkedIn? Sydney, if you go to my profile on LinkedIn, I can do that. But in any case, let me just, if you give me a minute after we finish with this, I will send you the link. Claudia's got the link for Squarespace. Yes, that's right. Okay, who should write your profile? Yes. I tell my clients, just like they should never write their resume, they should have it professionally written. I tell my clients that they should definitely have someone write their profile. You can draft it. There's someone that I use, and as a matter of fact, I'm thinking I might bring her. She is a career, she's a career coach. She is the one that writes all my client resumes and my client LinkedIn profiles. If you all are interested in having her join me for one of these lunch and learn kind of things, I can bring her on one of these Thursday sessions. Yes, I'll send you her link. I already know it. It's I'm sending you. Her name is Deborah Volkman Brown, and she's awesome. That's her link. Great. I will ask her if she'll come on one of these Thursdays and do this with me. One of the things that I asked you to look at the poll was, would you consider, instead of one-on-one coaching, to take an online facilitated course? I'm thinking of doing that a career management course online, so it would be at your convenience and a lower price point than having me as your coach, which, you know, I can understand some people it's out of their budget. But one of the things that Deborah Volkman Brown and I are thinking of doing is putting together a section on careers and doing a video on that and a webinar. So I'd love to introduce you to her. So I will get with her and see if she's willing to do one of these Thursdays with us. Do you think that's a good idea? Great to have her. Yes, I'll have her as a featured guest. I will talk, and all of you, since you're already signed up, you will know when she's coming on. Again, if you need to miss it, it's recorded and you're able to see it at any time. But it's much better if you're online, because then you can ask her questions directly too. Okay, wonderful. All right, we're done with answering strategies for a career. Yes, I'm gonna go move on with that. Michelle, you're working with Deborah now. Great, you did call her. Awesome, that's great. All right, so we got kudos from Michelle for that. All right, now let's see, what's the next question? Ooh, here's the vote. This is new. How to address seniority issues at work and deciding when it's time to leave. A new boss has come in and has developed a hierarchy which pretty much no longer has me reporting to the director, but more like a colleague. That's a pretty intense question, Claudia. So I will try to give you some food for thought at the very least. Okay, yes to having her as a having Deborah as a featured guest. Okay, definitely we'll get her on. Watch for that, okay? We'll get her on. And she's really funny, she's great. And I've been working with her for, I don't know, I think like 10 years. She does my people's resumes and profiles, so she's a wealth of information. Okay, how to address seniority issues. I'm gonna have to separate that. So there's the issue of seniority issues at work, and there's the issue of deciding when it's time to leave. Where do you want me to go with this, Claudia? What do you mean by seniority issues, first of all? And is that the question you want me to answer, or do you want me to answer around deciding when it's time to leave your position? Which way do you want me to go? And anybody else can also chime in here. Deciding when it's time to leave. Okay. One of the fundamental things about finding a job or staying in a job, of course you're afraid, is the issue of values. Are your values aligned with your company's values or your organization's values? So if you have, you know, in an extreme, and I'm not saying that this is your case, by the way, if you have a value around integrity and you're in an organization that is doing things that you feel are out of integrity, and it's a significant value you hold, and it's not surmountable. In other words, it cannot change. Ooh, I forgot to hit start answering. And it cannot change, then the value is so compromised that it becomes untenable for you to stay. That's an extreme case, okay? That's an extreme case. One of the things you want to monitor is your level of stress. If you're under constant and chronic stress and it starts affecting your well-being, that's definitely an indicator. Now, there are a couple of ways to go. One way is you can be transparent and have an open conversation with either your boss, in this case, Claudia, I guess it would be your new boss, and just, you know, have a conversation about what is upsetting you, what's bothering you. So let me give you kind of a script for that, okay? So if you go to your boss, I'm gonna call him Larry because I have no idea who he is. And you go to Larry and you say, you know, I'd like to set up some time with you to talk about our working relationship and how we could make it the best working relationship possible. That's the intro, okay? Because he's going to want that too. He's going to want a good working relationship with you, okay? I'm hearing you, Claudia. I feel like I'm being devoted in a way, but not blatantly. Okay, it's the thing about feeling that way. We don't actually know that's true. It could be something you're feeling. You're interpreting something in that way. So let's go to get facts, okay? So I'm not saying it's not true, by the way. I'm just saying that we don't know, okay? So it's what in coaching speak is an assessment, not an assertion. In other words, it's not a fact. It's the way you're feeling as a response to something that is in the environment. So you got to go to him and have that conversation with him. So once you've set up that meeting, I mentioned it to my boss director, and he said, be patient. Okay, hold that thought. You go to your new boss and set it up so that you want to have a conversation. Honestly, I would start with a question in that meeting. I would say, I have some thoughts on how to improve our working relationship, but I'd really like to hear your thoughts first. Okay? And let him tell you what's going on. I would spend the first couple of minutes asking questions. Okay? A question might be, I would like to hear, what are your thoughts on how to improve our working relationship? What do you feel is working really well? What do you feel is not working so well, and what are your suggestions for improving it? So this is all giving you data and information, and it's going to kind of make you evaluate if what you're feeling is actually based on what he could be feeling something completely different. He might be respecting you, and you're feeling disrespected. You don't know. Okay, so. Then after you gathered that data through your questions, then it's time for you to step in and say, here are some thoughts on how I think I could really thrive in my position and be a better team player, or have a greater impact on the project, or develop a better working relationship with you. And then that's when you start saying, here's what I feel is working well. And then you say what's working well for you. Here's where I think I could use your help in improving our relationship. Then it's when this happens, when X happens, when something happens, it makes me feel Y, and the impact on my productivity, on my work, on whatever is B. That's a template that I'm giving you to use in the conversation. It never does any blaming, and it doesn't make him wrong. It basically says, here's where I stand. I stand here, and this kind of behavior, this kind of activity is making me feel a particular way that's having an impact on the way I work. So it's a really neutral conversation, okay? Now I'm going to read your comments because I've been talking. So no stress, I feel like I'm being devoted, not blaming. I mentioned it to my boss, our director. He said, be patient. We meet weekly, no problem with her. Oh, great. So does this help, Claudia? Am I answering your question well enough? Yes. Great. Are we complete with this question, everybody? Are we good? So let me hear, or if we're not, ask me a question about it. Yeah, you like the questions. One more, what? When is it time to leave? Oh, going back, thank you for that. So the first thing is figuring out if what's happening is actually happening. So again, if it's something that's not going to change, and you've already gone to your boss and you've gone to the director, and your director, he said be patient. So if, patience is a week, patience is 2 episodes of what's happening, whatever it is for you, you need to go back to your director. And you need to have already had the conversation with your boss, by the way. I would tell your director, I'm going to have this conversation with my boss and see if I can work it out on my own. If not, I'm going to come back to you and ask you for some additional support. Let's say you do all of that and it doesn't work. You go to your director again and you say, I need some additional support. I think maybe a 3-way conversation between us. Okay, you do that. Let's say it doesn't work. At that point, you start thinking about what you need to do to leave. Okay, because the question isn't when is it time to leave. A piece of the answer to that is, have you done everything that you can be responsible for to be able to stay and thrive? And that means you need to have those conversations. If you really feel like you've done everything that you need to do to stay and thrive, and nothing is changing, it might be a time to, I wouldn't say leave necessarily right off that, I'd say reevaluate. So here's an opportunity for you to reevaluate about, if you are to leave, what are you looking for? What will be different in your next job? What will be the stretch that you're making in your career that causes you to leave for this position and not that position? So it's a time to reevaluate the who you're becoming, in your career. What is that next iteration of your career? And what do you need to do to bridge the gap between where you are and that next iteration? Do you need more training? Do you need to take courses? Do you need some time off to think about it? These are all things that clients do when they start reevaluating. So between the time that you say, yeah, I think I'm going to have to get myself ready to go, and the time you leave, that's when you do these things. And of course, going into like the previous question about doing your LinkedIn profile, managing your brand, all of that is in there. Then separate question is, what do you do to set yourself up for the next position so that you're getting a better position? This becomes an opportunity and not just a running away from a job that you don't like. Okay? Does that help? Claudia? Anybody? Okay. Are we good with this? I'm ready to go to another one. Michelle, great. Okay, so I'm going to hit done answering because this is on tape you can listen to. Okay, great. Daniel, if you're still on, Daniel is an excellent coach. And I'm going to ask Daniel, do you have any comments that you want to contribute to that conversation about when it's time to leave? Because he's awesome. Any comments, Daniel? Anything you want to add to that conversation? I'm going to pause and have Daniel type away. Yes, great. Go ahead. Let's see what Daniel has to say. I love different perspectives. I'm not the only one with an idea here. Yes, reality check. Yep, on both sides of the equation. That's why you have to do those conversations. We don't actually know, right? Anything else, Daniel? Okay, great. Thanks. Thank you for your comments. Okay, so let's see. The next question we've got about 15 minutes. Great. So just as a touch base, I want to make sure, could you please, if you haven't already done so, could you go to the poll area and please answer the poll that is behind us. You'll see polls. Click on polls and you'll see polls, and please answer that. There's only a couple of people have answered. Really appreciate it a lot if you would answer the polls. It gives me some feedback on some of the projects that I have going on. I'm developing some online courses to meet a need where people cannot afford coaching, but the way I'm doing it, I know that I can give you some great content and have it be useful for you, and then combine that with maybe group coaching sessions as well, so you're not just on your own completely. But I'm really interested in hearing, what kinds of things are valuable to you, what would you like, and if it's something that you're interested in doing. I'm definitely interested in seeing that. Okay. I still think that there's nothing better than having a coaching dialogue, coaching conversation with a person, with a human being, which is why I will still, keep coaching. But for those of you who need something right now, that might be a way to go. So please answer the poll. And let's see. I'm ready to start the next question, which I have not answered, and that is, okay, how to not feel overwhelmed when you have a lot going on, packing lunches, work, side hustles, family, and realizing it's okay to take a day off for a retreat or vacation. First of all, yes, not only is it okay to take a day off for a retreat or vacation, it's actually essential. All the recent research we have on resiliency and mindfulness points to a better level of performance and a happier state of well-being when we are able to devote time to ourselves. So you've heard, it's kind of overused, right? You've heard the whole, when you get on a plane, put your oxygen mask on first, because you can't really help anyone else if you're unconscious. In a way, that's what we're saying. If you don't take care of yourself first, I call it being the center of your universe. If you are not the center of your universe, if you are not taking care of yourself first, there's no way you can take care of a business, an organization you cannot lead. You cannot take care of your family. So it's not a luxury. And for women, I find that it's even harder for women because they're still the primary caretaker for children. I'm talking a lot. So, and particularly for single mothers who work, it's a real challenge, okay? But so that's a piece of it. So resiliency, mindfulness. Mindfulness does not, you don't even have to take a day, it's not like going, to India and meditate for a month or even take a day off. It's the daily practices. So let's start with beginning your day. Let's start when you get up. If you get up just running, that's the tone you're setting for the whole day. So whether you have a family, kids or not, getting up and making, even if it's 15 minutes, and if it's more, that's great. If it's a half hour, it'd be great. But hopefully the weather will turn a little better, at least here on the East Coast, and having maybe a cup of tea or a cup of coffee outside, if you can do that, if you have a yard, if you have a patio, and just settling into the day. And David White, the poet, has this great line, and he talks about precariously entering into his day. I totally get that. So it means sort of arriving into the next 24 hours in a way that you're settled, you're calm, and when the whole influx of family or the whole commuting thing hits you, you've entered and you've already centered yourself. For some people, it's doing yoga. For some people, it's meditating. For some people, it's having a cup of tea. Just a personal plug. The book I wrote, Manage Your Life Before Life Manages You, More Joy and Less Stress in 365 Days. I wrote it so that you could read one page in the same amount of time it takes you to have a cup of coffee. And that one page is a focal point, a reflective thought, something that starts your day in a way that you're centered. So if you haven't checked out the book, not just because I wrote it, but because it really does work. It's just this one little thought, a one focal point, centering point. Maybe it's a mantra for you. It could be a prayer, any of these things. So that first hour that you enter your day has a lot to do with whether or not you are going to feel overwhelmed for the rest of your day. So give yourself that time. It can be 15 minutes. It can be 30 minutes. Find a way to give yourself that time. Okay, how else not to feel? When you're at work, get up and walk around. Eat, and if you can get outside, even better. Too many people are sitting at their desk eating lunch. It's terrible. Don't do that. You need a break. So go out, take a walk, mindfully eat your lunch. Don't stuff it in your face. Sorry, but it's like taste your lunch. Whether you bring your own lunch. I'm supposed to be at break, but I want to be on this call. So find another 15 minutes to be on break. Don't use this as an excuse. You don't get to do that, okay? Find a 15-minute. Just go for a walk, even that. One of the things I tell my clients to do, I have clients who go from meeting to meeting to meeting, and I want you to imagine, okay? Imagine that every single meeting you attend and kind of every single task you do, you have a suitcase, okay? Every meeting is a suitcase. So my 9 o'clock meeting is a suitcase. My 10 o'clock meeting is a suitcase. My 11 o'clock meeting is a suitcase. By noon, I've now got 3 suitcases I'm carrying around with myself. Put the suitcases down. How you do that? You leave 5 minutes between meetings to go back into your office, put your suitcase down. What I mean by that is complete whatever it is you need to complete about that meeting, clear it mentally, breathe into it, and this is a mindfulness practice. Just breathe, hold it for 3 seconds, breathe out. It actually oxygenates your brain and gets you out of fight and flight, which is where you are when you're moving so fast. You're like in a fight and flight, highly adrenaline stressed, chronic state that really compromises your health and well-being and your ability to make good decisions or to function optimally. Just that couple of minutes between meetings to put what I call put down your luggage, put down your baggage or whatever. And when you arrive in your next meeting, you breathe into it, you're calm. Hello, how are you? You sit. I would love for meetings to start for the first 5 minutes to just, wouldn't it be great if we started our meetings with just, let's just do like 1 minute of a deep breath and let's just all arrive and leave everything that we've been doing, you know, at the door and get present and then start our meeting. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Wow, would your meetings be different? So if you can do that, okay, so that's part of getting out of overwhelm. Packing your lunches and stuff, if you can do it the night before, when my son was younger, it was always done the night before. It was in the refrigerator, it was packed and ready to go. If you can do that, that's great. I used to make pancakes the night before, then just heat them up in the morning. We do not have to be perfect moms. Hello. There is no such thing. Whatever works. Whatever works, and it's much, yes, pack the night before. And I'm not saying don't value your family. What I'm saying is figure out what it is that you can do without being perfect, because that will kill you. Perfect is the enemy of learning, and perfect is the enemy of a lot of other things. So don't feel like you have to be perfect. And take time for yourself. Really, really important. You cannot build your career, you cannot have a healthy and happy life if you are not saying, how am I going to take care of myself first so that I can take care of others? And you got to get it, like, you really got to get it in your body like that. You need to like act on it, not just intellectualize that. So yeah, don't try to be perfect. It's like a total sabotage. It doesn't work. There's no such thing. And besides that, boring. Who would want to do that? We won't learn anything if we're perfect. If we're standing in the place of I know everything, I'm perfect, there's no curiosity, there's no learning. Not really what I care to do. I have standards. High standards are good. Heroic standards are not good. They're not healthy. You only have heroic standards when there's an emergency. Okay, thank you, Claudia. Okay, good, done answering that. Okay, according to my clock, we have 2 minutes. Anything else? I'm not going to take the other questions. I'm meeting with you next Tuesday. I'm going to send you an email. I'm going to take a look at these questions and see in my email if I can send you some way of answering your questions, because I didn't have time for answering them online. Ask them again at next Thursday or another Thursday. Get some votes behind it so that people who are on can get interested in it. Maybe ask it a different way. I don't know. And then I'll send you a follow-up email later today. Anything else? Thanks, Daniel. Thanks, Michelle. Right. So it's short, it's sweet, and I will get back to you about having Deborah on the line and talking about career management. Great. I hope it all helped. Any feedback? Yes. Oh, Joel, you'll be in a couple of weeks. If you register for the next Thursday, you can get the recording even if you can't attend. And if you have a question and it gets voted on, I'm happy to answer it even if you're not there. Sydney, thanks. Great, LinkedIn. Find that post. Oh, I will, in my email, I'll send you I gotta write that down. Send LinkedIn post. If you go to my profile on LinkedIn, you'll see my post. And it's why women do write their LinkedIn profile. Awesome. All right, I'm ready. I'm signing off. Yes, Sydney, go ahead. You'll find it, but I will send it to you in any case. Okay? Actually, before I close off, since you guys are leaving, but you'll be able to see this, I will send you the post link, and in the recording, you'll be able to get it. So, where's my profile? Okay. Yeah, top 5 reasons why women avoid writing their LinkedIn profile. I just caught the link. I'm sending it in the comments area so that you all can have it. There it is. So Sydney, I don't know if you're still on. Are you still on? Yep, you're still on. I just sent it to you. That's the link, okay? All right. Pleasure to do this with you all. See you next Thursday. If you haven't taken a break or had lunch, go have lunch. I'm about to go have lunch. Okay? Thank you so much. This was fun. I enjoyed it. If you need anything from me, just email me. Okay?